We are super close to releasing the MVP version of AWSME.ai, and I want to give you a quick overview of the experience of what we built so far. You know, an MVP is a minimum viable product, so we've really tried hard to put just enough features into this so that we can provide value to you wanting to actually utilize this for your website, as well as start our own learning process of what's working, what are the features that you want, and that we could start implementing and building into the product over time. Without further ado, let me kind of show you where we're at, and then towards the end of the video, Leo's going to give you a cool look underneath the hood and how we're structuring a little bit of the data and do a little bit of a 10,000 foot view there for all of you who appreciate that geeky stuff like I do as well. So here is where we're at. Obviously, you can trigger our AI chat right here, which is completely trainable with your own data. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But let's go ahead and pop over to HubSpot, where we're building a custom global module that's going to give you some control in terms of having that style to match your brand. Also, you can come in here, set things like what you want the AI to say at first. You can do some prompt behaviors like add a personality. And then of course you can come in and modify a lot of the text content that surrounds it. It's a custom module, you'll have complete control. Enough said, let me show you some other cool stuff. And that is the actual dashboard that we've recently built that is gonna allow you to essentially train, fine tune, and then understand how your AI is actually doing on your website. So here under the training tab is where you can easily just select and or upload multiple files to help train your AI. Under tuning is where you can really play with these levers so that you can really tailor the responses of the AI according to your brand. Do you want it like straight and to the point professional? Do you want it kind of more fun and creative with its responses? As well as how long of responses do you want it to give? Do you want it to be robust or do you want it to be short and punchy? We have full API integration, which you'll need to utilize your HubSpot API. It is important to know that this is going to be geared towards HubSpot enterprise customers who have API access. And then my favorite part is a basics analytics panel so that you can understand how well visitors are actually engaging with your AI chats, and then how well your response quality is based on your training data. And that's where it gets especially exciting for me particularly, as I obviously want the AI to be as smart as possible and deliver the best results as possible to customers or people asking questions. And that's the general overview of how the experience will be with this MVP, but I'm gonna pass it off to Leo and he's gonna show you a couple things under the hood and how we built this MVP in just like a couple weeks. Take it away, Leo.
I will now break down our backend / logical functionality of our dashboard and also some of our backend structure for how we're structuring our logic / code. So there's mainly three parts. Firstly, we have the JavaScript on the front end that sends all the HTTP requests for rating the responses and actually creating the responses for users when they're using your website. So for example, if I'm on the website, ask some question, then our JavaScript just sends the request to our server, then just generates the answer from the AI and sends it back. So that's the first part. The second part is the actual server, and that's where we're storing the AIs, the API keys, some documents, reference numbers, and also generating or taking in all the HTTP requests for both from our database, but also from the front end. And the third part is, of course, our database, where we're storing kind of our customers that are using our dashboards kind of metrics for their AI. So for example here, if we go here on the sidebar in Floodflow, you can see we have a tab called Firestore. So in the schema for a user, you can see that we got AI creativity, response length, HubSpot API key. So this is kind of values that we store for each customer, so they AI are specific to them. So if we go here out to the actual dashboard, you can see that we got some on the tuning side, we got some sliders. So if someone is training our AI, we want to be able to, when a user kind of change the value on this slider, to be able to store that in our database. And that's really easy to set up in Flutterflow. The only thing you need to do is press on the input field, in this case a slider, then just press up here on actions, then open. Then you can just press here plus add action. I've already created action, as you can see, which just updates the document, and the document is just the current user, or a document is just a kind of an item in the Firebase, but the document we're updating here is the current user. And then we update AI creativity to be the value of this slider. Then we of course do the same for this slider. So basically, we have this kind of front end for our dashboard. And when a customer who wants to use our AI for the website updates the value here, uploads some training files, and then just, they don't even need to do anything else. That just is stored in our database in Firebase. And that's what we set up here and in that action field. But to actually train the AI and not only store kind of metrics, to actually train the AI and store that on server, we want to be able in Flutterflow to send an HTTP or /API call to our server. And that's really easy to do in this tab here, API calls. So here we could just press, and you can see I've already set up an API call called train AI. So to set up an API call in Flutterflow, you can just set a name, a URL, a header, a body, but you can also see we can use some variables that we define ourselves for our call. So you can see for this API call, we send the creativity, length, and some text content and an AI folder. This is basically just the name for the AI. So all of these are grabbed from Firebase and then just sent with the request when a user / customer presses this button here. So you can think that we got this dashboard that just when someone interacted, we save some data in the Firebase. And then when someone presses this button here, we just grab those values from Firebase, pull those in, and sends an API call to our server. So those are kind of how we structure the backend, and basically how the entire thing operates behind the scenes. Hope you find that interesting, and looking forward to tell you more about our project.
I hope you appreciate a little bit of a look under the hood, even though that was a bit high level. Our intention building this in public is to, one, share a lot of the journey as we kind of go through this process of utilizing this technology, building something cool, and just facilitating more conversations and open feedback along the way. Again, if you are interested in signing up for our limited beta, there is a link in the description below, or you can just go to AWSME.ai, that is AWSME.ai, and you'll see the link there to join the limited beta. We're rolling it out really slowly and just sending out a few invites at a time, just so that we can make sure that this is well tested and we can make a little or a few little incremental changes along the way. With that, thanks everyone for your shared excitement with this new project as we're continuing to work on it. I much appreciate it. And have a great day. Catch you later.